Hey, what's up guys? mozidesigner here, doing another Unreal Tournament map update. As you can see, the lighting is complete. Got my nighttime feel locked in. It's not too dark, not too bright. You can kind of see where you're going. Got a cool moonlight going on. Got my contrast with the torches, and things look pretty good. Very simple color palette, orange and blue. It works well. I see a lot in movies and games. And it works, so I didn't break what works. Orange and blue contrast works just really fine. Just getting the right colors was tricky, but I think it works and it fits well. I also did a big overgrowth pass. Before it was just a few leaves hanging off of things, and now the map feels overgrown. I still have to do some tweaks and stuff on lining up some of the foliage, but for the most part, I like how it turned out. And it does really sell the overgrowth look than just a few leaves hanging off the building. I still have a few minor errors here and there that I need to fix, but for the most part, the map is done. It is functional, the bots work, and not much more I can do. So I'm going to wrap things up very soon and publish the map for you guys. But for today, I'm going to discuss lighting a little bit and how I got to this point. Kind of like the collision video, I will kind of walk you through how I did lighting on this map. And it's very similar to my full level design tutorial where I cover lighting and VFX on the vignette map. Just an example of something that looks, I can make a screenshot out of. But yeah, the colors work very well, and I'll show you how I approach lighting on this level. So let's get to that. So here we are, the exact same map with very bright white lighting. And I'm going to start from here. So the first thing I'm going to do, which you should do when you start a lighting, is delete the existing lights you have. You kind of start fresh. So we'll go to type of light. We'll get rid of, let me double click it. We'll get rid of the light source. Yes. We'll get rid of the skylight. Yes. And we'll type fog. Get rid of the fog. As I discussed in my level design tutorial, the 7-part series, make sure you have a light mass importance volume. I covered how to build that in that video, so go back and watch how to do that. So with the lights deleted, I'm going to quickly rebuild lighting, and it should be a black scene. So here we are with a completely unlit scene. So it's kind of hard to see what we're doing, so we'll go to lit mode, go to unlit. Then we'll go to our window, modes, and first thing we'll do is light, directional light, and we'll also add skylight and fog. Technically I had these actors in there, but I want to start clean with the default settings, so that's why I deleted them, and I'm adding them back in with the default values. So let's start with our directional light. Let's click on the sky and go to details, directional light actor, directional light. So now the light is attached to the sky, and we can rotate the sky around to go to lit mode. So then we can click on the sky and say refresh material. So we got the sun coming from that direction. Next I'm going to click on my sky itself and turn off this color determined by sun position, and I'm going to adjust the colors of the sky. So the overall color, kind of put it to a dark. So I kind of want to still see the sun actor. And the cloud color, we can change that too. And the horizon color, again, make that dark. And the zenith color, which is the highest point, pure black. Right now it still doesn't feel like nighttime, but we'll get there. We'll click on our sun actor again, and we'll make the intensity a little lower, try 6. And then we'll click on our skylight, and we'll drop the intensity to by 0.25. And we can change the light color to like a bluish tint. And then we'll click on our directional light again, and right now it's a white light. Want this more of a bluish tint. That kind of works. It's kind of it's a little more green than blue. Just for the sake of the tutorial, I guess this works. It's not perfect. I spent hours and days getting that blue color the way I wanted to, but this is more just a highlight of how I did lighting. Then on our fog, we can change the fog density to 0.05. Let's say 0.01. We don't want too much fog casting light, bouncing light off of it. And this fog color, we can kind of darken that up. And as you can see, the sky is now turning dark, getting that nighttime vibe. Again, this is a very high level of how to do it. I mean, I spent hours tweaking colors and values and post values to get the exact setting I want, but this is a high level tutorial of how I did lighting in that map. Now I can click on my sun actor again, the directional light, go to light shafts, turn that on, light shaft bloom, turn that on, and let's lower the bloom scale by like 0.05. And we got a nice bloom on our moon per se. It's still a sun, but at this point it's looking like a moon. So we got our overall mood set, and from here I'm going to rebuild lighting one more time, and then we'll do the contrasts. So I just finished the light build, and as you can see we kind of have that nighttime vibe. It's not perfect, maybe too much shadows, but we can fix that later. Also apologies if you hear my PC in the background. The fans kick up really high when you're doing a light build, and now they're kind of coming back down. The lighting's over, so don't mind that. So the next step is the contrast lights, kind of like the torches. So the way I usually do that is I will actually just add the light first and then the detail later. So I'll go to content, go to window, modes, and I think I covered this in the level design tutorial as well, but just kind of a very high level approach. So I'll just go to modes, point light, drag into point light. And kind of get it to where I want it to be, and how I want the light to be casting. I can change the intensity. Let's say I want a 8000 intensity. I want a orange glow, but a very small radius, let's say like 500. And then I want some lights that are casting out from it. You can set this intensity to, let's say, 5000, but a bigger radius of 1000. 1000 probably too much, 750. And we can change some of the light color a little bit. So basically I want this to be a light source. Then I'll go to my content browser. I'll type in torch, drop this handy guy in, let's lock it and scale it up to, let's say, 3. And I also go to my content browser, change it to particle system, torch fire, drag that in. and I'm going to put the torch on the wall. And I'll grab my fire. Control R for real time. And we can scale the fire up a bit. We can scale it to, let's say, 2. So let's say that's how I want it to be, but I don't like the way the lights are. Now I can adjust the lighting to match my asset. Let's see if I like that. I can just copy paste the light. Copy paste this whole actor basically. And put it around the map. Assuming these are the values I like, like I said, I spent hours tuning the values over and over and over to make it, look good but also visible. But if you're just doing a vignette or you just want to learn, this is not a bad way to do it. It's not the only way to do it, but just the way I do things. So I'm sure a lighting artist or someone else could correct me at some of my mistakes, and I'm always welcome to learn from my mistakes. So, assuming that's kind of what we want to do, and maybe we copy another one, then I will rebuild lighting again, and you'll kind of get the gist of, again, how I got to that dark castle theme, and then the highlights with the contrast with the torches. So this is the approach I did. So I'm going to rebuild lighting and show you some tweaks and call it a day. So the second lighting build is complete, or third, and I have the moonlight. I have the contrast, but it kind of still feels not unified. So let's clean it up a bit. And some things you can do to clean things up to help fix the scene, like the dark spots and the shadows, or just adjusting a few things here and there. So let's start with our light, directional light. Let's change the angle of it so we can have less shadows. Because you don't have a lot of shadow at nighttime. Once you change the angle, click on your sky, excuse me, click on refresh material, and now the moon or sun actor is up higher. Next, we can change our skylight. We can make it a little brighter, we say 0.5. And we can change our directional light color a little darker. Excuse me. I think I'm catching a cold. It's gonna suck. So anyways, yeah, I've started lowering the value of the directional light. And instantly you can start seeing things feeling a little more unified and not as dark, but it gets that nighttime feel. Next, I'm going to go to my light sources here and change a little bit of, so instead of, it seems too bright, so let's bring the intensity down to 6,000. This brings the intensity down to 3,000. And same here. And likewise for the third light we added. Now another thing you can do is you can add in some fill lights to kind of, again, just fill the scene. So we'll go to our, but use these sparingly because if you overdo it then things get washed out and feel flat. So let's go to our modes. We'll go to point light. And in the properties we want to say turn off shadow casting. and increase the indirect lighting intensity by 2. And see, that's the influence radius of the light, so we can kind of expand this out a bit. And instead of a white, pure white color, give it a little bit of a bluish tint, bluish green. And we can change the intensity to about 3000. We don't want it to be overbearing. And next thing we can also do is we can add in a reflection capture to help brighten the scene up a bit. I'll go to our modes again, type in sphere reflection capture, and let's tighten up that radius a bit. And let's say the brightness on the sphere reflection capture is about 0.75. See, when I did 0.75, this metal got darker. So let's go to put it back to 1. Look closely, like right here. So I'm going to go to my reflection capture, type 1. So now at 1 is quite bright. If I go to 2, it gets even brighter. So the higher the brightness, the more reflection you're going to get off it. But I don't want too much reflection, so I think 0.75 works well. You can play with the value that feels right for you. And lastly, we can add in post-process, which I believe I don't have here. So we'll go to our modes, we'll type in post. Go to our top view. And make sure the post-process covers the entire scene. I've covered that in previous tutorials as well. Or at least cover the part that you want to have post-process affecting. So, I'll click on my post-process volume that I created. Hit G for game mode, and then in the properties I will go to, let's bring this over a bit. Start with the white balance, set the temperature. This is in Kelvin, so the lower the value from 6500, the darker it gets, the higher, the brighter. So let's try a value of 6000. And let's say even 5875. Gives a nice blue tint. And then we can do, one thing I noticed, the color grading is different from Unreal Engine compared to the UT engine of Unreal Engine. Because I think this is running an older version, so I don't have the cool sliders where I can actually pick the colors that I showed in other tutorials. But basic concept's the same. You have saturation, contrast, gamma, gain, offset. I think it goes RGB. So you can play with the color values here. I'm just playing with the saturation values a little bit. I'm playing with my contrast. It's putting a value of 0.95 for all my contrast, and a value of 1.2 for all my saturation. And, you know, I can keep going on for hours, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. But that's the basic gist of how I did lighting in this map, and I kind of propagated it throughout and played with the hues and the sliders and stuff to get where I wanted to, with the post-process and each light source and the fill lights and my skylight. So, as you can see, it's kind of close to what I have in the actual map. So hopefully this is helpful and informative. Again, it's just a very quick overview of how I did lighting as in this map. It's not a full lighting tutorial, step by step. I cover that a lot in my level layout tutorial. I covered a bit more on the Lake Ruins lighting tutorial as well. So go back and look at those. I'll have a link to the videos at the end of this video in case you have not seen those. So again, the map is done. Let me go back to that map. Yeah, so this is the actual map that I'm going to be shipping or posting online very soon. Yeah, so it's done. It's functional. The bots work, everything. So I just need to do a few minor tweaks, and I need to basically do a full bake of lighting, which will take quite a while. And once that's done, I will have a link for you guys to download the map in the next video, which will be the final installment of the series. And in the final installment, I will kind of do a retrospective of where I started and how I got to this point. And hopefully, overall, it was a fun project. I had a lot of fun making it, and thanks to some of the people in the comments in the past to say, hey man, make a playable map. Well, here you go. It's coming very, very soon. It's done. I just need to do a full bake, and you guys can download it and play it. So, thanks for the support. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your comments and questions. Again, if you have any more comments or questions, leave them down below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and keep supporting the channel. It means a lot. You know, people show up every day, keep subscribing. So, thank you so much for those new subscribers and the old subscribers. Appreciate your support. And keep supporting, and keep on rocking, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.